These are the hardest kinds of movies to review. Welcome to The Haunted Beard, everybody. If you are joining me for the very first time, welcome. It is all horror and thriller movie content here on my channel. And if you are returning, welcome back. Thanks again for joining me. Today, I want to talk to you about Don't Move. This is a Netflix original horror thriller film that is now available to watch. This stars Kelsey Asbiel and Finn Wittrock, and it follows a seasoned killer as he injects a grieving woman with a paralytic agent. She must run, hide, fight, and survive before her body completely shuts down. Now, I like to take notes on my phone as I'm watching a movie because it helps me get my thoughts together to prepare for these reviews. But every once in a while, I'll notice, and I'll go back through my notes, and I'll notice that I don't have very much written down, and it's usually for one of two reasons. The first reason is because I was so captivated and engrossed in the movie that I just didn't even write anything down because I was so taken by it and having such a good time. The second reason is because I just didn't feel like there was hardly anything to write down. The movie didn't really make me feel too strongly one way or the other, and Don't Move really kind of falls into that second reason. And that's part of what makes movies like this so difficult to review, when I don't have much to say about it because I don't feel too strongly about it one way or the other. This is a movie that I could sum up in one word: it's fine. It's just fine. There's nothing about it that's too terrible. There's nothing about it that's too great. It's a decent overall time. Now, this is a movie that I would consider like entry-level horror. This is one that I feel like you could recommend, friends and family. Maybe you're known as like, the horror person in your family and amongst your friends, and they come to you during October and Halloween season, or like, hey, you got any good horror recommendations? This is one that you could recommend to kind of, general horror audiences that just like to watch something scary around Halloween, that they could probably put this on and have a fun enough time with it. But if you're more of a horror fan and you've seen hundreds, if not thousands of horror movies, this is one that it's just fine. It's all right. It's decent. It doesn't do anything super memorable. It's not awful. It's just fine. And the filmmakers and writers, they pretty much execute this concept in, for the most part, a predictable kind of way. And so for me, I kind of just felt throughout, the experience of watching this, I just needed more. I just wanted more. Given the concept of this woman trying to evade this, killer and being completely paralyzed, not being able to move and all that stuff, I needed more anxiety-inducing moments. I needed more tension. I needed more edge of my seat. I needed more of the thrills and that sort of thing. And I just needed more. They execute this concept well enough to where I didn't feel like I completely wasted my time, but it certainly doesn't do anything that is going to leave any sort of lasting impression. The performances here from the two main leads are perfectly serviceable. Kelsey Asbiel, she does a good job given sort of the handicap and restrictions that she's working with here, but she does fine. And then Finn Wittrock as the killer. He's kind of a generic serial killer type character. He has some moments where he's definitely more kind of over the top, chewing up the scenery. Some moments almost verge on being a little silly and goofy. He's also not the brightest serial killer either, with just some of the decisions that he makes and things that he does. And this is a film too that, while I think they do a fairly good enough job kind of executing this concept in terms of the pacing, I never got bored with it or anything like that. There's certainly some things from a writing perspective that you could kind of poke holes in. Some of the stuff happening here is it's a little far-fetched. You kind of got to stretch your believability sort of thing. It never gets like egregiously ridiculous, but there's certainly some things where you're kind of like, yeah, we're stretching believability here a little bit. There's definitely kind of some silly, a little bit over the top sort of moments. And so overall, it is a competently made film. There's nothing I can really overly criticize about it. There's nothing I can be too negative on. but I just needed more of what it gave me. And so because it plays out in a fairly predictable way, it feels a little safe, and I just needed more. This is a movie that it shouldn't feel safe. I feel like they could have just leaned into some more unpredictability. There should have been more twists and turns. I should have just felt the experience more than I did, given the, what the story of the film is all about. And also too, I think the ending it's pretty much exactly what you would expect, sort of thing. So overall, yeah, I don't really have anything else to add. Like I said, these are kind of movies that are sort of tough to review. They're just kind of this middle of the road, fine, it was all right, it was decent enough type of movie that I don't feel super strongly one way or the other, but that's just kind of what it is. So I'm going to go 5 out of 10 for Don't Move. Yeah, those are my thoughts. Since this is a little bit of a shorter review, I figured I'd let you know what I got coming up and what videos I'm planning on making. So Azrael finally dropped on Shudder. That is a movie I've been looking forward to watching and reviewing. So planning on reviewing that. Also, I'm working on another Hidden Gem horror movies video that I want to drop in time for Halloween. And then finally, next week, there's another Netflix original film coming out called Time Cut that looks kind of interesting. And so I'm planning on reviewing that as well. So anyways, yeah, that's all I got for you. Thank you once again for watching. Greatly appreciate it. Like always, hit me up down below. Always interested in hearing your guys' thoughts on the movies that I review. Would love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching. If you got anything out of this video, go ahead and do me a favor and do not click that subscribe button unless you want to be haunted by the beard.